thank you so much for having me here at the Data Teams Summit. I am so excited today to talk to y'all about data ops teams and why they should stop sprinting. Now, a little bit about myself. My name is Monica K. Royal. I have been working with data for a little over 12 years in the space of risk, compliance, and security. I have a formal education in accounting and management information systems. And most recently, I left corporate to start my own thing, and I now started an educational content company where we create educational content as well as providing mentoring services to the data community. Personally, I love to dance, hike, and cook, and you'll see that in a little bit about how I really like to cook. All right, so today, what is this topic about data ops versus DevOps? In particular, why are data teams having such a struggle where software teams are not? Now, I have had a couple roles in the past where I've used this data ops concept. It wasn't technically called data ops at the time. It's still a fairly new concept, but we did still use the agile methodologies and the sprint schedules to deliver our products and such. So with this, when I was asked to present on this topic, I was super excited. But I also wanted to first off poll the audience to kind of get a better understanding of everyone's perspective of these two different concepts. So I went on over to LinkedIn, created a poll, and I just simply asked, is there a difference between data ops versus DevOps? I knew there would be a yes would be the winner, but I was really interested in the comments that people were going to share. And to summarize those concepts, not surprisingly, we saw, there's not a clear yes or no to this, and that it depends on the definitions of the two concepts. There's still a lot of misinterpretations of these two concepts and how they work. And some people were saying that the strategies and the processes are similar, but the implementation itself is what is different. So my favorite quote that somebody had submitted was that data ops is actually spicy DevOps for data. And that was submitted by Juan Manuel Parafan. So thank you very much for that. That's one of my favorite quotes that I've seen. And my own quote, not as exciting, but data ops, it's complicated. There are a lot of steps involved in the data side of things before you can even think about getting to the ops side. So I wanted to look at the definitions that were out there. People were saying it depends on the definitions. So I wanted to look to see what was out there for these two concepts. First off, DevOps is the collaboration across teams to improve quality and shorten the application development lifecycle. Whereas data ops is a collaboration between data and data teams to improve the quality by aligning towards business goals. Now, if you look at the who, these are very similar. There's a collaboration with teams. And if you look at the what, these are the same. They're both trying to improve quality, which is awesome. Now, if you look at the goal, this is where you see they're slightly different. Whereas DevOps, they're really looking to shorten that time, that development lifecycle time. Whereas DevOps is really focusing on the alignment towards the business goals. But where I see personally data teams are struggling is that they're actually trying to accomplish the goals of both. So they're aligning towards these business goals, but also trying to achieve the DevOps goals of shortening that life cycle using those agile methodologies, those short sprint cycles, and whatnot. Along with the alignment. And the alignment involves human interaction. And so this is what I see it being a struggle. Now, let's dive deeper into what the teams actually look like. Now, with the DevOps, again, the goal is to shorten the life cycle. And the teams are comprised of members that have similar priorities. So these include software developers and engineers, which really those folks have coding as part of their DNA. So they're able to automate their processes, really easily work together very quickly, and deliver in a very timely manner. Now, whereas data ops, again, they're trying to align towards the business. They're also trying to shorten these development life cycles. And if we look at the team is comprised of members with slightly divergent skill sets. You have teams that include data engineers, data scientists, data analysts, data product managers, etc., etc. And each of those have their own responsibilities that they need to take on, and so them working together in themselves is something that they need to work harder to do. Plus, again, in order to align towards the business, their ultimate goal, they need to work with the business. And so a lot of us know that when you're collaborating with the business, the data teams and the business teams, they speak slightly different languages. So it takes extra time when you're collaborating with the business there in translating, making sure that everyone's on the same page. And because of this human interaction and collaboration, they're only able to partially automate the process here. So with that, let's look at the process and what it takes to get their work done. Now, we already discussed here that DevOps, it's been around for a while. They're able to automate their processes to get things done in a very quick manner. But with data ops, you can already see here that there's an extra additional process included that you need to address. And as we mentioned, this includes human interaction as well as automating this process, which takes time. Now, I want you to see here that this is a flow from right to left, and you need to really focus on understanding the data and getting that laid out, that foundation, before you can even think about moving to that development and operational perspective. And so again, what I stated here is that data ops is just complicated because of this fact. And I wanted to expand on this with a fun analogy, since I mentioned that I liked cooking, that data ops is kind of like cooking as well. So with that, let us cook with data ops. Okay, so story time here. We have the same process, but we're cooking a meal. Okay, so you have your request. Somebody has requested for you to make them a meal. You first off need the ingredients. You need to understand the data, understand the ingredients, what all is involved in making this recipe. You need to also understand where the ingredients exist. They might be at one grocery store, they might be at several grocery stores. And then also you need to go to those different locations and then obtain that data, aka ingredients, by purchasing those. Now, the next process, you can then start cleaning and cutting your ingredients, measuring everything out. But at this time, it's really good to double check your requester to make sure that you're still going in the right direction, everyone's on the same page. Hopefully you didn't forget any ingredients and need to go back to the store like I do sometimes. So here is a good stopping point to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. And then you're able to move on to the development and operation side. So with this, start developing, you can start mixing, you can start cooking your stuff, you can start taste testing. Good chefs like to taste test what they're cooking. And then the last step, you can eat what you have been provided. And I put in here as the last step in digesting, because I want to make a point here that monitoring is a really important step in when you produce something and you deliver it to your clients. You want to make sure that everything's still working right. You didn't get an upset tummy. Hopefully you understood the business requirements up front and you realized that, say, the requester was allergic to onions and you didn't cook with onions. Otherwise, the digesting of that food would lead to an unnecessary visit to the doctor, and you do not want that. So here, if we look back at the our standard data ops process with a data project, again, you want to understand the data, what's involved, in order to make that data product and make that in a right way. Otherwise, when you get to the end, you're just going to have to loop back to the beginning and start all over again. Now, that pretty much covers the process of everything. But what about the tools that are involved? We talk about a lot of automation, especially on that DevOps side. So for the tools, a lot of you might have seen pictures like this that show the vast options available to everyone, which now is considered, the modern data stack. There's just a ton of tools available. Vendors are constantly marketing that these tools will help you get your job done. A lot of them talk about how they'll get your job done very fast, which again is the DevOps goal. With the DataOps goal, you want to align with the business. So here, there's just a lot to choose from. I also found a different visual that shows this. I like this because it shows at the top, this is kind of like the tools that the DevOps folks use. And then the tools on the bottom here are those data related tools, the analyses and the data visualizations, explorations, and all of that. So I kind of liked this outline to show as well. Now, I'm not going to go over any of these tools, but again, I did want to take everyone through a story time. And let's look at a day in the life of a data ops team member. So here is Diane, the data professional. She just got a request. She's very excited about this request. She's also using Slack to communicate with her team. She is ready to go. And she starts off, she has a small set of tools that she starts off with. If she's really lucky, she works at an organization that has these tools already ready to go and available to her. And so she just, grabs those and starts, really briskly walking and using these tools to get her job done. Now, She has to add a little bit more tools because this is a data project, so you need that Python, you need the Tableau, all of those data visualization, data exploration type things. And so here already you can see that there's a lot of tools, but it looks like she's still going, she's still progressing forward rather quickly in the back of her mind. She has to meet those very quick sprint schedules. And again, with the tools, new tools come out on just constantly, on probably a monthly basis. A new tool comes your way. And so her organization found out about a couple more tools that were marketed to help speed up the process. So then what happens is she gets more tools that she then needs to add to her tool belt. She needs to learn the tools as she's using the tools, but also, again, in the back of her mind, she has to keep up with these short sprint schedules. Now, the problem here with these tools, again, is that they are marketed for the completion of the project in a quick and timely manner. Problem being, what about the business? She completely forgot about collaborating with the business. And so here, inevitably, she gets too overwhelmed. She ends up tripping. Your mom probably told you, don't run with scissors, don't run with tools. If she was able to not have that kind of voice in the back of her head about the sprint schedules, you need to be quick, you need to be quick, she would be able to focus less on the tools and more on the process and what's involved in the process to understand the data first. Use the tools, of course, I'm not saying anything against tools themselves. Use the tools to understand the data and all of that before moving into other processes regarding the development and the operationalization of those products. So, with that, a few key takeaways that I wanted to share are that DevOps, it's been around for a while. Everyone's kind of already been in their groove. They're able to move very quickly, automate their processes using their tools, and kind of have a dance party and be successful. Now with data ops, again, it's a fairly new concept, still using tools to get yourself done, but remember to focus on the process itself. And the teams here are complex. The differing skill sets between the team or within the team do make that a bit of a longer process to work with each other. And don't forget about the business. Again, with the process, there is a whole understanding of everything that comes first. Understanding the details, what data is needed, what data exists, and how exactly you're going to achieve those goals. And again, the human interaction is key here. And lastly, we have our tools. Now, our tools, again, there's new tools created constantly. They're marketed mostly for the speed in which you can get your stuff done faster, which is great. But if you are trying to only focus on getting things faster, you are at risk at getting a flat tire. So, in conclusion, for us data ops, data team folks out there, stop sprinting. Go through the process with intention and understand the data fully in order to be successful in achieving your goals. And that's all I have for y'all. I hope this helped with everyone, and the main takeaway is to focus on the process itself to be successful. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also have a blog, and I have some fun stuff on YouTube and Instagram as well if you want to check that out. But LinkedIn is my best place to contact me. So thank you again so much for having me, and have a good rest of the conference.